Showing off our new shirts. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Unruly Duo. I'm Brandy.
I'm Jenn.
And look at our new shirts.
Would you look at that?
Aren't they great? So you may have heard us talking about Jenn's that she has on, the infamous Fuck That Guy t-shirt. This one was inspired by something Jenn said. I had used the term good trouble, which actually neither one of us came up with. It was a senator or a congressman. I'll put the link down in the show notes because I can't remember his name, but long time. He was entrenched in the civil rights movement, marched and was jailed with Dr. Martin Luther King, and he coined the term good trouble. And then I had brought it up in some context, and then Jenn said, well, let's be a good troublemaker. And so we made shirts. They'll be available on her site along with the Fuck That Guy shirts. There'll be links below. So that's at the top of, I just wanted to bring that up. We're both wearing our shirts. Pretty excited about it. We're both in mediums. In case you're kind of wondering, you can kind of gauge like sizing and stuff. These are both a women's cut shirt. We also in that shirt have men's, like a unisex men's, like normal sort of t-shirt. But we have something to talk about. Jenn conducted a little experiment. What was your experiment and what were the results? Pray tell, scientist Jenn.
Well, so, I mean, we're going on, what, 6, 7 months of me being harassed by a coordinated group of people, although they have slowed their roll just because I was able to take my power back and take my power back, basically.
Yep.
That doesn't mean that they don't still have access to all of my accounts, my phone, that they're still watching me and spying on me, because they most definitely are. That's kind of how they operate, is they'll kind of go dormant. They want you to think that they're not watching you, but they actually are. And I just haven't gotten the tools or the protection to help me solidify my safety yet.
Yep.
So anyways, you know, it's like every news story that we see, because there's so many, right? We tend to forget things.
We're all dealing with a lot of information. The news cycle's going like this. We're
Yeah.
like, there's a ton of information in social media,
Right.
et cetera. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it just seems like the community did not come forward to help me in any way, shape, or form.
And I just want to clarify, you were also asking for help.
Absolutely.
It's not like you were just talking about your experience and people didn't know that you were in distress and needed help. You were asking for help.
Yes. I was
consistently
posting every single day. I posted when I had to flee my home. I went live because I was afraid of being in my apartment alone.
Yeah.
I was very vocal about people breaking into my home and having to flee, and posting proof of what was happening to me. And
posting that your finances have been drained, posting
correct.
links to GoFundMe's because you needed the financial support.
Correct. And even, I put a donate page on my website. I've put Cash App, and and it just seems as though the more that time went on, the more invisible I became. Right. Not that because in the beginning, when it was all happening, right, when it was active, and I was
The thick of it, yes.
I was terrified. I was
not left your home, yeah.
hypervigilant. I hadn't left my home for days, and then I flee my home, and I'm kind of yeeted, right? Out of my life, and then landed here, and it's like, I don't think people, they just don't maybe they didn't understand the seriousness of the situation. Or they didn't believe me. They believed the smear campaign that I was mentally ill, which I have never shown any signs of having a mental illness. And everything that I was saying, I was backing it up by evidence,
Right.
Real solid evidence of what was happening to me.
I would also like to say that perhaps people thought once you landed here, like, well, at least she's got a roof over her head and a friend to help. And yes, that was like step one. Absolutely, we're not diminishing that was an important step for you in helping you get stable. However, I am not made of unlimited funds either. Like, there's
or resources.
or and just because the immediate threat is gone does not mean that you have just, okay, everything's better now. All right, done. Thanks, guys. Like, you are still obviously building because you're still here. And not that I mean, I love Jenn. Jenn, I've told her many times she could stay forever if she wanted to, but that was not ever the intent. The intent was to be here temporarily, to stabilize, to get safe, to get away from the situation, and then move on to what you would like to do. So, yes, so you are screaming to the masses, and crickets, by and large. And again, we always want to put the disclaimer: there are and have been and continue to be people very close to Jenn that have stepped up in the ways that they can. They also have their own set of circumstances and resources, locations. Not everybody is near her, physically near her, and so we're all just humans. And Jenn has had the floor completely wiped out from under her. So we're talking ground zero.
Right. And, I'm also, when all of that was going on and I was posting about what was happening to me in real time, in, 30 days, I had like 240,000 views on all of my videos. And I just think if 240,000 people gave me $1,
right?
I mean, that's a lot of money. $250,000.
If 10% of them gave you $1,
right? And
yes,
like, I don't think people understand that. Like, I barely make enough money right now to feed myself, because it's very hard to find a job here because it's a very tiny town.
It's a small place.
Yeah. And I've applied to multiple jobs. I do DoorDash, which again, it's a very small town. It's not like dashing in the city.
Yep.
Which is also wear and tear on my car. So it's,
right.
And
We're doing the best we can.
Yeah.
She's also has put out a ton of offerings. And, one thing about Jenn, I have never seen anybody, and I said this to her the other day, like, as discouraged as you get, as frustrating as this is, as long as this is taking, I still see, like, I have never seen anybody with so much like, all right, it's another day, time to get out. I'm going to go try to dash. I'm going to, I'm going to put out a book. I'm going to put this on my website. I'm still committed to this passion and this dream, and I want to help, I'm going to go find seminars. People don't give you, there's a lot of people y'all know who you are, and you know who I'm talking about. Y'all don't give her enough credit. You vastly underestimate her, and your attitude toward her is lacking.
It's warped. It's very warped.
So anywho, we're just being transparent, and this is also not to complain, but this is reality.
This
is reality.
This is insight to the situation that I'm in, and kind of a little backstory to why I did what I did.
Yeah. So you had all these views.
Yeah.
And then what happened after things started to maybe stabilize a little bit for you? You were able to
started to tank. Yeah. People were like, but it wasn't.
It was entertainment, and now the entertainment.
Oh yeah, people love to see me in distress. They loved it. It might have been entertainment for them, but it was torture for me.
Yes.
And 100%. People just sat and watched it happen. And then, once I did stabilize, and like I said, they backed off a little bit. And then I got to a point to where I was going to try to move on, right? And it keeps morphing into these different stages. And, this case is taking longer than I ever thought it would. With the kind of intelligence and technology that we have today. And I never, ever, ever thought it would go on this long.
Yeah.
And so, it was like, like the news stories recycle. And it was like people, they either got disinterested because it wasn't as entertaining, right? Because I'm not uh presenting as mentally ill anymore, right? And so people just kind of looked away. And, like you were saying earlier, people have their own lives, they have things going on. So for me personally, because of my background, I was groomed into the sex industry. I became a dancer in a strip club when I was 21. At 22, I was sex trafficked and on a global scale. Um, and they put me on two adult film sites where uh, millions of people viewed me being sexually assaulted. Okay. It doesn't get any more humiliating than that. And so that's another thing that I had to kind of go through all this, because me putting myself out there online and going through all this, looking like I did, you know, having the life force sucked out of me, it was humiliating. Like, it was just, there were so many things that I had to go through that were so similar to the trauma that I went through during that period of time. And it's like at this point, like, I have no shame. I have no shame whatsoever. But it was because of my background, um, getting into jujitsu, y- I was never really given a chance, right?
And we've talked about that.
Yeah.
How when you even after 17 years and teaching for many of those years and getting a black belt, you were treated the same.
And harming absolutely no one, right? Like, not harming anyone,
Not
like,
trying to,
at all.
yes.
Like,
You were treated
not causing any problems
just
whatsoever.
trying to give to the community and be part of the community,
Right.
and uplift it. You were treated the same then. I mean, that's just, I still think about that. You were treated the same then as when you walked in the door when you were still dancing
Correct.
in a strip club.
Yeah.
Like, it's like none of it mattered.
None of it
No
matters.
matter how hard you work, no matter how many years you put in, no matter how much you earned those belts, it's like you were a stripper.
Yeah. Yeah. Or mentally ill. She doesn't deserve our support, right? It didn't matter how much I had contributed to the jiu-jitsu community or what I've done for the women in the jiu-jitsu community. None of that mattered. And so, you know, I know, and I've known this for a long time. And if you've been following me for a long time, you know that I've never shown my body online.
No.
I have never shown my body online. Not even some cleavage, right? Like, because I never, ever, ever, ever wanted uh my followers or my what would you call it?
Students or
Students, yes, but I never wanted my growth to be because of
oh yes, I see. Yeah.
my body.
Yeah.
I didn't want to have to sexualize myself
Right.
to sell my products or my jujitsu. And I always knew I could do that. But I also knew that if I did that,
Right.
I would be viewed differently.
Yes.
Yes. So I never did. And then I didn't want that kind of attention, because I knew that that kind of attention really is only attention of men, mostly.
Yes.
And so I decided that I was going to uh, use uh, the sexualization of my body to get people to come back to my story. Right? Because that's what happens with survivors in general. It's like they have to go through these horrific things. It doesn't end for us.
No.
It doesn't end for us. You guys, most people, they get to go on about their day and they just kind of forget it, and it is what it is. But because there's a lack of support for survivors, and not just the shame and the ridicule and the public humiliation that we have to go through, the Epstein files, for instance, the survivors of the Epstein files, the humiliation that they have to live with on a global scale every single day. It's everywhere. You can't go anywhere and not see it. Pictures of them, as children.
As children.
Yeah,
As
with
children.
the most vile, horrific evil people on the planet.
who are in power and so far been without consequence in our country.
Right. Except for one person, which is a woman, and
Right.
she's in jail.
Right.
Very deserving, but you know.
Right. Right.
uh, so I decided to show my ass and twerk around in some underwear and tell people that I was giving away free nudes, that I was starting an OnlyFans. And man, my my views skyrocketed. And
Across platforms, like
across platforms.
Instagram, the Substack you directed them to, like anywhere that you said that the engagement or at
Yeah.
least the views, engagement might be the wrong word, but the views went
Wait,
and very quickly too,
yes.
like immediately.
Correct. Yeah. Where, most of my Substacks without doing that were probably averaging, I would say, like 80 to 100 views, right? On that specific Substack, what was it? It got 422
Mhm.
views because I sexualized myself to direct people to paying attention to my story.
The actual story.
Yeah,
Yes.
because what it demonstrated was they didn't care. They would rather see me mentally ill. They would rather see me collapse my life to where I'm selling my body, right? That means more to them
Mm.
than what I have had to go through as a human being and a woman that is still actively in the midst of being sabotaged and stalked and harassed and spied on and watched every day.
Yeah.
Like people just don't understand. And so, it proved my point. And then, once I flipped the script and I'm like, I was never giving away nudes, right? I was never doing any of that stuff. But when I put that one out, I also put a video of me twerking in my underwear again. And that's when they started to report me for soliciting when I said I wasn't giving them away, right? And I personally think that it's the people that I'm speaking up about. I think because the post before that said I was giving away nudes, right? They didn't get flagged. Nobody flagged them for soliciting, and it said I'm giving away free nudes. But it was this one that like blew up, right? And so it's like that is sabotage. It's still slowing me down,
Mhm.
right? Because I was able to appeal it because it wasn't actually going against the guidelines. It was to raise awareness about my story. But the way that people reacted was, I mean, I wasn't surprised. It was disappointing,
Yes.
but I knew what I was doing.
Yes.
And one woman made a comment. She was like, "Well, you don't have to trick people into reading your Substack." And I said, "It's funny that you say that I'm tricking people when all I did was change the expectation, right? Like how the people who didn't read into it, they actually tricked themselves,
Mm.
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But if it brings attention to my story because I'm still actively living this, then I'll show my ass every day."
And what I think was powerful is, and I really want you guys to hear this, she brought to light your own feelings. She brought to light how the shallowness in the community. She brought to light the disrespect towards her, somebody, a black belt in your community. She brought to light your own baser desires that maybe you can't admit to yourself. She brought to light the disrespect of herself. And that's on you guys.
I did was hold up a mirror. That's all I did. What you saw from it is a reflection of, who you are. There were many people who got it, You know, the people that knew me, they thought it was hilarious, you know, because I'm like, I'm starting at OnlyFans. It's only $1, but I guarantee you won't want your money back. You know, like, and still people didn't get it. And I, you know, and I had men, you know, come to my DMs, which I don't get DMs from men very often. Um, but that brought them in, right? Them thinking, "Oh, she is someone that I can degrade and disrespect, right? And get something from, right? As before, when I wasn't showing my body, right, I didn't get those kinds of DMs, which is another reason why I don't present myself like this online because I know what kind of attention it brings. Because I know what kind of attention it brings, that's why I did that because I need to bring attention to what is happening in my life. Yeah. And because I also knew that the highest paying jujitsu practitioners, the most popular practitioners in jujitsu, sexualize jujitsu every single day. Every single day.
Right.
And it's accepted.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they're men.
Right.
They're men and they're in little suggestive poses. They are in suggestive poses and suggestive clothing, surrounded by women also in suggestive poses and suggestive clothing, and are millionaires and have millions of followers, and nobody bats an eye about that. But I guarantee you, there are people who continue to judge Jennifer for a job choice she made when she was very young and influenced and groomed 20 fucking years ago.
Yeah.
And would hold this little experiment she did over her head, but a man in little skimpy briefs or in a position that looks like he's naked, promoting something about jujitsu,
Showing his ass all the time.
right,
Yeah.
doesn't get anything. There is all this brought to light, as far as I'm concerned, is the hypocrisy that in the lack of a respect and integrity in a martial arts system that's supposed to have respect and integrity.
Yeah. It's double standard. I mean, across the board. Now you do have women in jujitsu that are sexualizing jujitsu as well, and they're making a lot of money doing it, right? But you know what you have to take into consideration is that they their followers and the people that are making this popular are men.
Mm.
It's mostly men, and jujitsu is being dominated by men, and we are seeing predators being exposed all the time. And when they're exposed, their behavior had gone on for months, years, right? Because of look at my story,
Right.
right? How it just disappeared and like nobody really cared. So what's the point of me speaking out? What's the point of me saying anything? The men are not going to stand up against the other men. They're just not. I haven't seen one yet.
Right.
I haven't seen one. But what we're seeing in, you know, jujitsu is the men are, you know, propping up the men who are sexualizing jujitsu. They're propping up the men who are bullying people, right? And it it really gives them permission to act any way that they want.
Yes.
Because they're a man or they're a world champion of some sort, right? And it's like, where is the integrity? Like, where is the respect for selves, each other, and women especially? Because when this Atos story dropped, everybody's like, well, there's no proof. The proof is the survivor.
Yes.
That is the proof. And when someone accuses someone of something, that person has an opportunity to defend themselves. If they did not do it, they should have no problem, zero issue of proving that they're innocent and that they did not do that.
Right.
Right.
I mean, and I will say, because we have seen that same response disgustingly towards the Epstein files.
Yeah.
And I will just say this: if you're one of the people who says that, you're just a pedophile and a predator enabler. That's just it. I mean, that's the bottom line, because the Epstein files, that is a collection of legal documents that was used to convict Jeffrey Epstein. He went to prison for his crimes. And it was
Ghislaine is in prison. You can
yes.
watch her on a monitor. Like they
Yes.
have a camera in her jail cell.
Yes.
Like she is in prison.
So those documents are legal documents, legal proof used to convict felons.
Yeah.
And they include things like emails, text, witness testimony. And so I just want to bring this point home. If somebody accuses somebody in the jiu-jitsu community, that person, that is witness testimony, that is proof. And if you don't believe that, then you're a predator enabler.
And yes.
Like, just full stop, you're a predator enabler.
Yeah.
You don't need to see it physically happen to believe somebody. There are other sorts of proof. You are not judge and jury. That is proof. The end.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I think because of of your personal experience, very specific personal experience, but also how your specific personal experience in jiu-jitsu is one that you have heard shared across multiple women, across multiple states, across multiple belt levels. And so that is why you have created the Unruly Temple.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So I actually birthed the Unruly Temple during all of this.
Yeah.
Because I had shut down my business July 31st. August 2nd is when all of this escalated. All my money was stolen, my savings, my ability to work was taken from me. And I'm just one of those people. Like I create, and I have a purpose. And it's funny because I had a purpose before this, but it was misaligned. And as horrible and horrific as all of this has been, the people that were stalking me and trying to destroy my life, they actually gave me a bigger purpose in life.
Mm-hmm.
And that is to create a safe space for women to train. And we're going to be doing that virtually in the beginning. I will continue to do this virtual class for women all over the world. You can do it from the safety of your own home. You can do it with or without a partner. If you don't have a partner, you can learn by watching. We're going to be talking about, philosophy, psychology behind predators and things like that. Like you'll get something from it.
Groups can join. So if you've got a group of women that want to get together and practice with Jenn virtually, there's like a group rate, right? So it's not every person paying like the individual or partner fee.
Yeah.
And so and eventually this will go. In addition, Jenn's already in the process of booking in-person seminars, but and that will continue and grow. But the idea is eventually you will also have your own brick and mortar, your own temple in real life, and the virtual will continue from there.
Correct.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But it takes, you guys aren't invited. The men aren't invited. We can't trust you anymore.
Yeah.
You're not showing up in this community in integrity, by and large, at least in Jenn's experience. And before anybody gets it, I know there's good guys out there. When you guys start speaking up as loudly as we are and actually helping and putting your money where your mouth is, I'll start recognizing that. Until then, none of you guys are invited. Yeah. So it's all women. Women don't have to worry about your outdated, patriarchal, toxic masculinity bullshit.
Yeah. I have not had not one male leader in the jiu-jitsu community contact me through this. Not one man. Women, yes. I've had some leaders in the jiu-jitsu community that are women who have reached out to me and expressed their support. So, but not one man.
Yeah. So my goal as Jenn's self-appointed business manager is to use my 25 years of experience, acumen, contacts, etc., is to make sure that every woman who's ever even thought the word jiu-jitsu or martial art or self-defense knows that she can train without any of the bullshit at a black belt level. and she can be safe, and she doesn't have to worry about some weird hierarchy. She doesn't have to worry about some bro aggressive
You don't have to
ego
worry about
BS.
conforming, performing. You don't have to act a certain way to fit into a group of men, because that's kind of what happens in jiu-jitsu, because it happened to me. Is you're in a room full of men, like you
Kind of have to bro it up.
yeah,
You kind of have to be
to
the
fit in or to be included, like you have to play by these unspoken rules.
Is it that if you show any femininity, they equate that with weakness?
Oh yeah, 1,000%.
So
Yeah,
femininity equals weakness.
absolutely.
That is
Absolutely. And
I'm just a big fuck off to that.
right,
idea.
or
It's so
if you're
gross.
emotional, you're mentally ill, right?
Right.
It's like it's this whole and it's just it's a boys club. That's what it is. We're just, the women just come in and we get to, in a way just kind of be spectators who get to participate sometimes. Now not all schools. There are some really great jujitsu schools out there. But the majority of them, in my personal experience, because when I went out on my own, I tested out some schools and they were all the same. And because everything trickles from the top. The leaders of our community are creating the atmosphere and the environment that we keep seeing these predators come out of. And there's a reason for it. And it's not the women. It's not the women. And so I want to start leading the way in this movement to like I said, bring a space for just women only. And like, I'm not even looking at the jujitsu community anymore. Like, to be honest, you guys don't exist to me anymore. Like, I don't have any interest in what you're doing, where you're going, or what you're going to do. Because one, you're not being helpful to the women's community. You're not helping me. And you're actually hurting women's jujitsu.
And I will say this, since you and I have started talking about this, and I've starting to follow jujitsu people and practice a little bit and learn about this.
Yeah.
Now I'm seeing you are taking what's already happening to the next level, is you're creating just a women's only space. But I see so many women who are talking about women's specific classes within jujitsu gyms and going out on their own and women's specific training, because this has apparently been going on for way too long.
Since women have been in jujitsu. Yeah.
It kind of makes me wonder if one of you guys make a fake account and answer anonymously. Do you want the women there?
A lot of them don't.
Okay. Because I'm genuinely curious. Is it like that? Like, we didn't want you there to begin with, so we're just going to treat you like crap because we don't care about you?
I think because there is this category of men who say, well, I don't grapple with women. And one guy told me, and a lot of people are like, well, she could make something up about me or say that I touched her inappropriate or something like that. If you hear a man say that, I don't feel comfortable grappling with women because I'm afraid she might accuse me of inappropriate behavior.
That means he's going to try and
what that is telling you straight out the gate is that man cannot control himself around women. Or if, they're afraid they might hurt you, right? Which I totally get that. But that also means that they lack control in their jujitsu. They can't control themselves enough not to hurt a woman, right? And so it really is a lack of control on the men's part in a lot of different areas that we can't coexist safely, And it's like and then all of the weight and the pressure and
but you guys are the ones who have to.
The women have to come in and
like compensate for it somehow. You have to be.
We're the ones that are doing campaigns to raise awareness, and you see women coming together to create groups like for domestic violence or sexual assault or whatever the case may be. But like, where are the men doing that? We shouldn't have to do that. Right. We're not the one causing this harm.
You're also the one. So getting back to your point of having sort of to assimilate, you come into this ecosystem that are men who are saying, some men in the group saying, I don't feel comfortable grappling with women because she either might accuse me of something or I might hurt her. But the responsibility then falls on you to somehow to hold that and like somehow compensate for it, not on them. It
Right.
doesn't, the responsibility does not seem to be falling on
There's
the
something
men.
wrong with me,
Right.
right? You're telling me there's something wrong with me as a woman in jujitsu. I can't grapple with her because, whatever. Now, for sexual assault survivors, when a sexual assault survivor comes in as a woman and she says, I don't want to grapple with men because I'm a sexual assault survivor or I'm a domestic violence survivor, that's different. Men aren't saying, I don't want to roll with a woman because I have been violated and
Right.
abused and assaulted. They're saying, I don't want to roll with that woman because she might falsely accuse me of something
Right.
or I might accidentally hurt her.
Right.
Right. And that just there's a big difference. And it just, like I said, what it's telling you is that person lacks control
Right.
in a lot of areas of their life. Yeah.
And so I'm just going to put this out. If you, as a man in jujitsu, are disagreeing with this, great. That's great to hear. I cannot.
We'd love to hear from
Right.
you.
I would
As
love.
long as it has to be factual though. As long as it's not like, shaming someone, an opinion, like it has to be like,
I heard somebody somewhere one time.
right.
It's like, so A, we'd love to hear from you. B, I'm going to make it really easy from you. If you are someone who really does believe in control and integrity and the values at which this system supposedly upholds, there is going to be multiple links. The first thing you will see below this video is going to be ways that you can support Jenn. You can sign up to is either a paid or a free subscriber to her Substack. You can donate to her GoFundMe. You can buy
Buy a
her book.
t-shirt.
You can buy a t-shirt.
Yeah.
You can buy her book. So you can bring her into your studio to teach a seminar. I will put the direct links, not just the general website or whatever. I will put the direct links to all those, and you are more than welcome. There are a variety of ways that you can support her. And I would say, a lot of the ones I just mentioned involve a payment of some kind. I know it's a tough economy. Not everybody's in the space to have extra funds right now. But again, I would appeal to any guy watching this who feels like this is maybe unfair, or maybe there should be something to be done from your end. Are you elevating people like Jenn and other women? It's not just Jenn talking about this. Other women in the community, are you elevating those posts on social media and on your platforms? Are you reposting them? Are you talking about them in your spaces? Do you know if the women in your spaces feel safe? Have you ever talked to them about it? Are there people in your community, in your particular gyms, that you kind of know maybe something's a little creepy and you just haven't addressed it because it's not overt? Those are ways that you can start being in integrity. And until I see those things happen, I'm just going to assume that you don't have any.
Yeah, that's it.
Prove me wrong. I would love to be proven wrong.
Yeah, I would too. I really truly would. This is not fun for me. Like I don't want to keep, talking about it, but like I can't stop talking about it until I get out of it.
Right.
And I'm still in it. And, if people aren't clear on where I want to go, I want to get my studio back. My studio was sabotaged. There was a woman planted in my life to destroy my business, and they did. And then they took all of my money, and then they took away my ability to work. And to get back to that place, w- doing DoorDash, right? It'll never happen.
Right.
And I don't like to ask for help. Obviously, I've never asked the community for anything. I've never asked anyone for anything. And obviously, I'm capable of, um, you know, creating great things. I've created more in the last 6 months, I think, than I've ever created in my entire life, just because I've been put into a position where I was, backed into a corner, and, nobody puts baby in the corner, right?
Right.
Because she's going to come out swinging. But, there's only so much I can do
Right.
by myself.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. No, that's really fair. If anybody listening to this wants us to give them some grace of saying, well, I was unsure or scared or I didn't know or blah, blah, blah. Okay, great.
Now
We're
you
getting
do.
it. So now you do. And there's an opportunity, and we would love to see that support. And that also means giving some grace and care to Jenn, and by believing her and by elevating what she's talking about and other women are talking about in your community.
I wouldn't keep repeating myself and saying the same thing over and over and over and over and over again if I didn't know it wasn't true. And the reason why I came out the gate saying what I knew, what was happening to me, exactly what I'm saying today, is because I saw the evidence. I know what it felt like. I know exactly who it was, and there are things that you all weren't there for. Things that I haven't even talked about online. But I knew from the very beginning that eventually, one day, everybody's going to see. They're going to see that everything I said was true. Every single thing. Right. And I always knew that. And that is actually what has kept me going the most, is because I know that in the end, I will be validated. And, for the people that are late to the party, or the people that misjudged me, or the people that didn't believe me, they're if we're going to see growth within our community or the world, you're going to have to, like, face yourself, face what you did to me, take accountability for that, and, you know, contribute. I'm not saying it's like mandatory to contribute, but like, I don't see why you wouldn't, I guess. I don't understand why people w- won't contribute to helping me get
Right.
back on my feet.
Yep.
And that's why I want to just,
The focus is going elsewhere for now.
yeah, yeah,
Focus is just
pretty
going.
much.
You guys, silence says a lot.
Yeah.
And so we are just going to, and I'm going to use every little bit I've ever learned of anything in business because
Yeah.
this got
And
real.
she has applied for grants for me. Like, she's reached out to colleges, like all kinds of places, trying to book me seminars. Like, this woman has done so much for me. Like, I can't even, like, it blows my mind that if we had more people like Brandy in this world, like, we would be so much better off.
I agree. Jen,
Good.
I really,
Good.
I agree. But it's because it got personal.
Right.
It got personal, not just because you're a friend, but it got brought to my doorstep. And again, I want to live in integrity. And that means if I care about you and I think what's happening is wrong and I think you deserve to succeed, that I have to put the actions behind it too.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm not in integrity.
Yeah. I just, like, if I saw a black belt in the jiu-jitsu community going through what I was going through, posting what I was posting, I don't understand how someone could just look at it and not do anything. I don't get that. I I asked my therapist once, like, are these people that are harming me, are they doing this on purpose? Are they intentionally doing it? And she didn't really answer the question, but she basically just said, Jen, you're never going to understand what they're doing because you would never do that.
Yeah.
And so I can't understand it. I just, no matter, I try to put myself in their shoes, or um, visualize, or come up with something. And I just can't. I just can't. Yeah.
To buy a shirt.
That's why this shirt exists.
Well, technically that shirt exists because kind of, yes.
This actually came sprouted before all this,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, it came from the previous incarnation of this podcast, which was called Midlife Artist, because every single person I talked to, every single one of them had some person, and I know it says fuck that guy, but guy here is kind
Gender
of
neutral.
gender neutral. It is a man or a woman. So that this person I was talking to was talking about whatever creativity or thing that they really love, doing that in a younger part of their life, and somebody completely like squashing it or diminishing it or disparaging it, or, you know, I mean, I still remember somebody I spoke to, her name is Sarah Scazzoro. She's an amazing 100-mile endurance athlete and coach. And she had a coach in high school say that she didn't have the legs to run. Why, as an adult human being, would you say that to a teenager? And she's literally in track, like it was her track coach. You've seen her run. She like, why?
Yeah.
So every single person I talked to, the guy who showed when a student came up to you and said, this guy is showing stills of this thing of you in the studio, like in your gym.
Yeah.
It was your gym, right? Like the gym that you co-owned.
Yep.
In your gym and showing students that.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a single person I've ever talked to where I haven't at some point wanted to say, fuck that guy.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what that came from. That, I mean, I really just wish you'd ripped his arm off and beat him to death.
Oh, I never saw him again. I never got to see him again. Disappeared. I didn't disappear him, but I think that, and that's the thing. It's like a lot of times, when these predators, because he was a predator, that was predatory behavior, what he was doing with my students. And for those of you who don't know, I had an instructor that I had been friends with for 3 or 4 years, working alongside of teammates and, grappled with all the time. He was dating one of the students there. And she came to one of my seminars about 5 minutes before that. She told me that he had naked pictures of me on his phone, which were from when I was being sex trafficked. And so that was 5 minutes before I have to go teach this seminar to a room full of women, teaching the art that helped me change my life and overcome all that. And to, have to just,
should have hung him up.
tie my belt, and get out there and pretend like I wasn't just
Not devastated.
not burning from the inside out. Like I was so betrayed. And not only that, but it's like I said that earlier, but it's never really over for survivors, right? So even it had been 7, 8 years since that happened, and I was reliving it. Not only reliving it, but I was humiliated again in front of one of my students, in front of my
You thought was a colleague, right? So like thought was an equal and a colleague and a partner and a friend.
Correct. And if he was showing it to her,
Showing it to other
he was
people.
showing it to the guys too. And, the other instructors, they were all probably, everybody was probably participating in this. And, because if he had them and nobody was, if somebody had to have shown him, I never told him about it. I didn't tell people about it. I definitely don't have, I definitely don't have the videos and the pictures. So, I'm not passing them around.
Right.
I'm not sending them to people. But, it hit so close to home. And I actually went home that night and relapsed. Hadn't smoked cigarettes in 5 years. Hadn't drank in, I think, a couple of years. And I went and bought a bottle of tequila and a pack of cigarettes.
How was that hangover the next day?
I don't remember.
That bad. I blocked it out.
Yeah.
It's probably because if your body is no longer used to that and you just dump all those chemicals into it, oh my God, I bet that hurt getting up the next morning.
It probably did. It probably did.
I think it's
But yeah, fuck that guy. Yeah.
I think if we want to kind of take it a little bit more serious and maybe a little bit more vulnerable, if you feel comfortable, I think you hit the right word, is betrayal. Do you feel a sense of betrayal from your community that you were screaming for help? And
yeah, I do. Because I have done nothing leading up to this for anyone to believe that I was mentally ill. I have in no way, shape, or form ever acted, you know, out of line in such a way that people would be like, "Oh, she's making it up. She's crazy." Like, like I've never caused any problems, but I forgot your question.
Do you feel betrayed?
Oh, yes, I feel very betrayed because of the I have worked so hard to get where I was in jujitsu. For every belt, I just worked so hard and I was under so much, scrutiny and pressure and dealing with so many, you my instructors showing pictures to my students of me being sex trafficked. Like people don't understand how hard it was for me to get to where I was going. And then when I needed help, it was like all anyone had to do was say, she's mentally ill. Okay, let's say I was mentally ill. Why are you not helping me?
Right.
I need help regardless.
Right.
If I'm mentally ill or if I'm actually being stalked, harassed, and slowly
Right.
murdered by
Right.
a group of people.
And we've talked about that before because I also had people come up to me, people close to you flat out say to me that you were making this up and that
Yes.
you were having a psychotic break. And I'm like, even if that's true, which I do not believe because I've seen the evidence, even if that was true, like shunning her and you know, um um gosh, I'm losing my words, but like just shunning and not supporting and belittling and betraying is
Abandon.
not thank you. Abandoning her is not the response to that. I'm gonna put ways that you can help and support Jen, including a great way to support her that costs you no money if you're just not in that place right now, is to reply under her post, to share her post when you feel called, and to use those posts to start talking within your community and raising your voice is what I think is really. And in the meantime, like we're gonna go off and we're gonna go find the women that need to feel safe and we're gonna go support them. Jen has done everything that she can. And it's time for other people in your community to step up. She's done the work. She's asked for help. She has contributed to the community. She has taught for years. She has put out offerings. She has done seminars. She has um, poured herself into it. It's been a mission of hers. And anybody who's followed her for any small length of time knows that. And so you guys have some problems, and you need to figure that out. And we are certainly here to listen. Um, and she's going to keep putting out data and information and posts in ways that so that you can have that kind of information to talk to your communities. But I also think that the people who are listening to this probably already know what's going on, whether they want to admit it to themselves or not. And Jen and I are going to go find the women that need this, and we're going to pour into them, and we're going to help them feel supported and safe, because right now it doesn't seem like the general jujitsu community is that place.
I mean, they don't care about, I mean, a female black belt in the jiu-jitsu community for whatever reason. I'm not really sure. I still cannot figure that part out. But and as far as my experiment goes, let that also be a lesson that we need to dig a little bit deeper than surface level, right? There's always more than what meets the eye. Whether that's, you know, my post or a news story or whatever. But, you know, everybody saw my ass and
Mm.
they're like, "Ooh, what you got?" Right? But it's like there was so much more below the
Right,
surface that
right.
it I don't know, it just blows my mind that, people they kind of just take what's in front of them and they don't really investigate, they don't ask questions, they don't dive deeper or look more into things. They take the easier way out, right? And so when I was shaking my ass, it was like that was easy. That was easy to give your attention to,
Mhm.
right? It's harder to give attention to something as serious as my situation, when I'm posting about it, writing, long substacks about it. Like that takes a little bit more effort, a little bit more time, than to just, you know. see me shaking my ass and think you can get a free nude from me or sign up for my OnlyFans for $1. Really glad that you guys would rather see that than the work that I actually do. Yeah.
So we're going to take it elsewhere.
Yep.
And hopefully enough of you guys want to fix what's happening that maybe it can come back around, but we're going to go take it elsewhere because we hear you loud and clear. And
yeah,
yeah,
I'm not the problem here. Sorry to burst your bubble.
She's not,
but
you are.
You're the problem. And this is where it gets creepy. I think we should probably go now.
Bye.
Bye.